What if I told you that after fighting a 20-year war against the Taliban, costing trillions of dollars and thousands of lives, the United States might now be negotiating with them for access to an Afghan air base? Sounds unbelievable, right? Well, that's exactly what former President Donald Trump says he's working on. If true, it would mark one of the most remarkable geopolitical turnarounds in modern history. Before we dive in, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so you never miss important updates on global politics and current affairs. The United States spent 2 decades at war in Afghanistan, toppling the Taliban government in 2001, only to see them return to power in 2021 after America's chaotic withdrawal. Now, Donald Trump claims he is working to secure a deal with the very same group that Washington once considered an enemy. The deal? Access to an Afghan airbase that could give the U.S. strategic leverage in the region. So, what's really going on here? Why would Trump, and by extension the United States, want to make a deal with the Taliban? And most importantly, what does this mean for global geopolitics? To understand the significance of this claim, let's rewind. After the 9/11 attacks, the United States invaded Afghanistan with one mission: dismantle al-Qaeda and remove the Taliban from power for harboring Osama bin Laden. Over the next 20 years, the U.S. fought one of the longest wars in its history. More than 2,400 American soldiers died. Trillions of dollars were spent. The Taliban were constantly targeted, and for years, American presidents vowed that the U.S. would never allow them to return to power. And yet, in August 2021, the Taliban marched back into Kabul, regaining control after the U.S. pulled out. The withdrawal was widely criticized, seen as chaotic and poorly executed, and it left behind a giant question: what happens next in Afghanistan? Fast forward to today, and Donald Trump's bold claim that he is trying to negotiate access to an Afghan airbase. If true, it represents a dramatic shift from viewing the Taliban as an enemy to potentially treating them as a geopolitical partner. So why would the U.S. care so much about having an airbase in Afghanistan, a country it just left? The answer lies in geopolitics and geography. Afghanistan is strategically located at the crossroads of Central Asia, South Asia, and the Middle East. From a military perspective, an airbase in Afghanistan would give the U.S. an ability to monitor and respond to threats not just from terrorist groups, but also from rival states like Iran, China, and even Russia. Think about it. Afghanistan shares borders with Iran, Pakistan, and China. It's close to U.S. rivals and sits in a region of increasing global competition. Having a base there would allow Washington to project power, conduct surveillance, and act quickly if needed. So even though the war is over, Afghanistan still matters a lot. Now the big question: why would the Taliban, who spent 20 years fighting American forces, ever agree to this? The Taliban today are no longer just a militant group hiding in the mountains. They are now the de facto rulers of Afghanistan. They face huge economic challenges. The country is isolated, under sanctions, and struggling with poverty and hunger. For the Taliban, a deal with the U.S. could mean money, recognition, and legitimacy. Even if Washington doesn't formally recognize them as a government, a military or security agreement would signal that the Taliban are players on the global stage. For them, that's priceless. Donald Trump has long branded himself as a master negotiator. While president, he signed the Doha Agreement with the Taliban in 2020, setting the stage for the U.S. withdrawal. Now, by claiming he's working on getting access to an Afghan base, Trump is once again positioning himself as the man who can strike deals where others failed. From a political perspective, this plays well with his image of being tough but pragmatic, someone who's not afraid to talk to America's enemies if it benefits U.S. interests. For his supporters, it's a sign that Trump can restore American influence abroad. But let's not overlook the risks. Many in Washington still view the Taliban as untrustworthy and dangerous. They fear that cutting a deal with them could send the wrong message, that groups who fight the U.S. can eventually get rewarded. There are also concerns about terrorist groups like ISIS-K operating inside Afghanistan. Could the Taliban truly guarantee security for an American base? On the global stage, allies might question whether the U.S. is compromising its principles for the sake of convenience. Critics could argue that working with the Taliban undermines everything America fought for over 2 decades. If such a deal were to happen, the geopolitical repercussions would be massive. China, Beijing has been strengthening ties with the Taliban, seeking access to Afghanistan's mineral wealth and looking to expand its Belt and Road initiative. A U.S. military presence could directly counter China's influence. Russia, Moscow, still dealing with the fallout from its war in Ukraine, would not welcome U.S. forces re-establishing a foothold in Central Asia. Islamabad has long been accused of supporting the Taliban behind the scenes. A U.S. Taliban deal could complicate Pakistan's balancing act between Washington and Beijing. Iran having an American base right next door would certainly alarm Tehran, which already feels encircled by U.S. military presence in the region. In short, a U.S. Taliban deal would reshape the balance of power in one of the world's most volatile regions. Donald Trump's claim about working to get an Afghan airbase from the Taliban is still unverified, and it raises more questions than answers. But if true, it would represent a stunning twist in the story of America's longest war, from bitter enemies to uneasy partners. It also highlights a larger truth. In geopolitics, yesterday's enemy can quickly become today's bargaining partner, depending on shifting interests and strategic needs. What do you think? Should the U.S. even consider working with the Taliban? Or is this a dangerous gamble that could backfire? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this video insightful, don't forget to hit the like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into global politics and current affairs. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.